Hello mathematicians, welcome to another day of doing awesome math together. What we are going to do today is play a really fun game. It's a board game and it's in your school supply package that we either dropped off at your home or you picked up at school. Okay, so today we're going to be reviewing our metric conversions. So remember, the metric system is when we're talking centimeters, meters, kilometers, everything that has meter. That's where the word metric comes from. It's an adjective of meter. So that is that whole system. It also uses liters instead of gallons, for example. So we did that a couple days ago. That was a US standard system. Now we're doing metric. And we also have kilograms for weight instead of pounds, okay? So you should find something that looks like this in your school supply package. And it is a board game that you are going to play with someone in your home that's the same age as you or older, or you can actually play on a Google Meet with a friend, okay? But you both have to have your sheet out, and then you would have to, each of you, have a counter for yourself, like a little game piece for yourself and a game piece for your friend, so you could see how they're moving along. And they would have the same one as you. So you'd both be keeping track in your home, but you'd be playing with each other through the screen. Okay, so you see there's a start and there's a finish, and you roll a die and it helps you land on different numbers. When you land on the number, you're going to find the equivalent, you're going to convert it. And if you land on a number like this, you are going to then immediately move to the arrow that it lets you skip some, and then you'll do the question there. So if I rolled 1, 2, I don't have to do this. Actually, I do. I'm changing my mind. I do have to do this one, but it lets me move here. So I do 2 problems, but I get to skip. So I'm going to say that again. If you land somewhere that has an arrow, you have to do both problems, but you get to skip. Okay, so I have all the answers to all those questions. What if I don't have this? What if I don't have that? I got ya, okay? So you're going to need this. Then you also were given a game sheet. Now, you could also play with 3 people. Like if you wanted to get more than one person in a Google Meet, that's fine too. So on the recording sheet, it says, it got a little cut off, but the first one is 1 because you can tell this is a 2. It goes all the way down to 20, and then you turn over here, it goes 21, and then it goes to 40, and there's 41. And the reason why is because there are 41 spots. And once you reach 41, then once you pass 41, you get to 41 and then you roll again, you will finish. So what does that mean? That means when your answer is going to go on the number square it matches with, okay? So for example, if I roll a number 3, and I go 1, 2, 3, and I need to convert my centimeters to meters, then I'm going to use the 3rd spot right here on my game sheet, okay? And that'll help me keep track of which spot I'm on. So you'll skip the ones you don't land on, and you'll just use the spaces of the ones you do land on, okay? So one game sheet will work for a game, and that's why I gave you many sheets, so you could play more than one time, and you can play with different people in your home. And obviously you can always just use a piece of lined paper or whatever you have in your home if you want to keep playing and you run out of those game sheets. Okay, so I'm first going to review a little bit of the conversions with you, and to remember how many centimeters in a meter, and so on and so forth. I also am going to include in your math post, and so with Ms. Crad, a chart for you to refer to if you forget, like, wait, how many millimeters are in a centimeter again? So you will be able to use this chart to help you, okay? And then you can do the math. If you don't have a counter, like I said, you can use different things. Like I just grabbed a couple coins. You probably want something that looks a little different. So I grabbed 2 pennies, but one of these is much older than the other. But you could grab a game piece or whatever. And then I'm going to also attach a link for to roll the die. So you can roll 1 die or you can roll 2, whatever your choice. And but the link I'm giving you is just for 1. And that way, if you don't have a die at your house, then now you do. Okay, so let's get into a little bit of review. Okay, so I'm going to first show you the chart, and then I'm going to do some practice with you, and then I'm going to play the game a little bit. Okay?
Boys and girls, this is a conversion chart that you're going to have available to you and going to be attached to our Google Classroom at MathPost. So what I want you to notice is a couple of things. Like, although over here we have the US standard, and we have US standard and US standard, we've been reviewing these already, especially the capacity one. So now what we're going to do is focus on the bottom half, which is metric length, mass, capacity. So length. So if you're thinking inches, yards, well, we're doing millimeters, centimeters to meter, meter to kilometers. It goes from smallest to biggest, okay, on all of them. Here we have metric mass, so that's how much something weighs. So we're used to using pounds, but today we're going to be practicing using milligrams to grams, grams to a kilogram. Heaviest things are usually measured in their weight in kilograms. So like if you were to weigh yourself, well, you wouldn't weigh yourself with a ton, that'd be too big. You would use pounds. Here you would use kilograms, okay? And then we have metric capacity at the bottom. So that's when you fill something up. So 1 liter is equal to 1,000 milliliters. So this is smaller and this is bigger, okay? So remember, it goes from smallest to biggest. So small, a little bit bigger, going down zigzag to the biggest. Okay, so I'm gonna do a few of these as like practice warm up with you, and so you can get back in this frame of mind, and then I will remind you how to play, and then you'll play. So let's get to it.
I'm going to use my whiteboard right now, and I'm just going to pull a couple of problems from our game sheet, okay? So I can remind you how to go from one unit to the next. So one unit I see as an example is, I could use, 104 kilometers equals how many meters? See that? And I want to remind you, a kilometer is way bigger than a meter. A kilometer is a little over half the length of a mile, okay? And you know a meter is like closer to 3 feet. So when I look at the chart, I see that in 1 kilometer, there is 1,000 meters, okay? So 1 kilometer, there's 1,000 meters, but I have 104 kilometers. So if just 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters, then it's this number times 1,000 will be this answer, right? Because if it was 2 kilometers, it would be 2,000 meters, and it would just keep going. If it was 10 kilometers, it would be, what do you think it would be based on our pattern? That's right, it would be 10,000. So whatever it is multiplied by 1,000, okay? That's how you can think of it. So when I think of 104 times 1,000, I know that just I add these 3 zeros to the end of 104, and it becomes 104,000, okay? So 1,000 times any number, you can add the 1,000 after it. So when they ask how many meters are in 104 kilometers, it's 104,000 meters. But what always helps me is to think, okay, well, in 1 kilometer, there is 1,000 meters. Because the prefix kilo means 1,000. So same thing with a kilogram or a kilogram, it's 1,000 grams in 1 kilogram, okay? So as you see, it's just the same number, and I just add the 3 zeros because I'm timesing it by 1,000. So you're going to be doing some multiplication and division here, okay? Okay, so erase or get a new space to do some work with me. The next one we're going to go, so we went from making our number bigger. Well, what if, here we go. Okay, so let's do another one with length. So 480 centimeters equals how many meters? 480 centimeters equals how many meters? So I always start with what I know, and I'm going to look on the chart. So I remember on the chart, it tells me that 1 meter is 100 centimeters. And I know that cent, that prefix means, that's like the beginning part of the word, it means 100. Like there's 100 cents in a dollar. That's what helps me remember that there's 100 centimeters in a meter. Now, here there are 480 centimeters. So how do I tell you how many meters that is? it's not going to be like a perfect number. There's going to be some centimeters left over that don't make it to a full meter. Well, if 100 centimeters equals 1 meter, that means 2 meters equals 200 centimeters. And then if I see that I have 400, well, I could even double that, say 4 meters equals 400 centimeters. So when it asks you how many, you can say this. There are 4. Now, this becomes 80 centimeters. Now, 80 centimeters is like 8/10 or 80 hundredths of a meter. So it's kind of like if this were pennies, 480 pennies, and you put this in dollars, you're just going to go 1, 2 spaces forward, and that would make those hundreds the whole. So right here, the whole is the 4. So it's going to be, you can have 2 answers. You can do 4 meters and 80 centimeters, or because 80 centimeters doesn't make it to another 100 to be another whole meter, or you could do it 4 wholes and 8/10 or 80 hundredths of a meter. That's also correct, okay? So you can either do 4 whole meters and 80 centimeters, or you can use your decimal of 4 meters, 4.80 meters, which means 4 whole meters and 80 hundredths of a meter, right? Because there's 80 out of 100 centimeters left, which is not quite a whole meter, but it still is how much you would convert that to, okay? So I know that when you do this game with a friend or, you know, a classmate or someone in your home, that they can help you use this chart. I want you to use the chart I was just showing you because it's your tool, and then hopefully the more practice you get, you don't have to look so much, especially because with the metric system, everything is base 10, base 100. It's a lot easier to do the math. And I think one more we'll go to is, we'll go from big to small. So it says we'll do capacity, 2.89 liters. So 2.89, that big L means liter, okay? And then it asks how many milliliters. And it's a little m because it's milli, meaning the smaller unit in a liter. Now, I want you to know that milli means 1,000. There's 1,000 milliliters in a liter. So if 1 liter equals 1,000 milliliters. Yes? Okay? And you've got 2.89, so you got 2 and 89 hundredths liters. We'll see, if you have 2 liters, that's going to be 2,000 milliliters. And then you've got this. So, let's see. So you can do, I'm going to double check my chart right now and make sure I'm not leaving it out right. So now we have 2,000 milliliters, but we still have this. So what it's going to be is, it takes 1,000 milliliters, right, to make it a full other liter, and we don't have that. So this is 800, this is, I know this is a little confusing, but you can actually add another 0, and it goes from tenths to hundredths to thousandths. And since it takes 1,000 to make it to another whole liter, this then becomes 890. So the answer is this 2,000 plus the 890, because it wasn't a full 1,000 to make another whole liter, becomes 2,890 milliliters, which we didn't really talk about much in detail. So hopefully this will help you, okay? If you need any help, hopefully you guys together can help each other do the math and check each other's math, okay? Whoever you play with, I want you checking their math, because if they don't get it right, I want you to support them in learning how to make the conversion correctly, okay? Because that's what's really the point of the game. The point of the game is to practice your math, okay? So you can play to see who wins, but you also want to play to learn together, okay? And if you have any questions around how to do that, just like I said, do it with a Google Meet. You can do it with more than 1 or 2 people. If it were me and I was playing with Miss Carrot at my house and she's at her house, I would have this sheet flat, and then I would put our counters here. Oh, drop my penny. I'd have the 2 counters here, and then I'd move us along to keep track where we go. And as I would do that, on my sheet at my house, I'll write my answers to match the squares that I land on, and she at her house will write her answers to match the square that she's on there. Okay, so yeah, that's about it. So like I said, the only thing you need to upload are two things. Okay, I just need to see your game sheet, okay, how you use it, and then I need to see your work, because I know that I need to write stuff down to solve these problems, so I know that you need to as well. Okay, so have fun. And you can have, let's say, maximum 4 people playing a game together if you're doing it on Google Meets, and then just support each other in doing the math correctly. Okay? If you have any questions, email myself or Ms. Crowd. We're here to help. All right, have fun.